Welcome to the Inside Track on Real Estate. I'm Ken Dekker with the Dekker Team, and today I have the pleasure of having Tyler with me. And Tyler works with Super Vacs, right?
Super Vacs.
Super Vacs, awesome. So what my producer said was that the show's going to suck, but I think it's still going to be a great show. So
it's going to suck in a good way. It's positive.
Yeah. So Tyler, what do you do at Super Vacs?
Well, Super Vacs is actually, I'll give you a little bit of background.
Sure.
We're a family-run business since 1978, established in Ottawa. We're pretty close to IKEA. I guess you can't miss that building.
Okay.
If you ever hear it.
Yeah. I attempt to avoid it.
Yeah, I hear you. And we've dealt with pretty much all aspects of vacuums, vacuum cleaners, and so it comes into sales, repairs and service. Smaller parts, things of that nature, even in the janitorial and commercial division as well too. Carpet shampoo units and also even steamers, which are becoming extremely popular these days.
Okay, steam cleaners.
Steam cleaners rather than carpet shampooers. And a lot of misconceptions these days are that carpet shampooer is hot water mixed in with a soap and liquid suds, scrub into the floor, and then you suck up the dampness. Where steamers are actually just, say, tap water, per se, where a dry steam comes out like a kettle, but on a higher degree. A dry steam.
Never heard of a dry steam.
A dry steam.
And so it goes into the carpet and then it's sucked back up?
You can. There's different units. A lot of units you'll see these days tend to be the stick steam mops, which you can use more so on hard surfaces, usually tile and things of that nature.
Rather than carpet.
Rugs, rather than on carpet, but there are other units too you can use, definitely. Onto the carpets as well, too.
Okay. And I got a great question for you. Maybe I'll do it right now.
All right.
My wife had to buy this carpet. This carpet is made of ribbons.
Ribbons?
Yes. And it has some like rug fiber, like shag almost, on the bottom. And then the ribbons stick up, different multicolored purples and mauves. And the ribbons will fray because they're cut ribbon.
Okay, yeah,
and sometimes they fray. And if you run a vacuum over it, you intensify the fraying.
Absolutely,
So
you'll intensify.
Any thought, like I've got one with a beater on it, and that just destroys it.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm like, that just ripped all the bows out. So I guess your question is, what do we do? What do we do with this? You take it outside like the old school way, and you just What you can do is you can still use the vacuum cleaner, but of course, if you have a vacuum cleaner that has variable speeds, you can reduce the suction possibly. Would be a great aspect. Something else that would be great is not to use a rotating brush on that type of item.
Yeah.
Anything with a long thread, or especially the ribbons, all you can really do is use certain tools, what they call combination floor tools or things of that nature, that can just create suction, so you just get the dirt out.
Right.
Without causing any true damage to the actual rug.
It's kind of like my Berber carpet here in the studio here, and there's a big run in it because
I was gonna talk about the Berber rugs and plush rugs and all kinds of fun stuff.
Because the vacuum had a beater bar and it grabbed onto one of the
threads.
And just whew, and it's gone faster than you can imagine.
Can't turn it off fast enough.
Okay, so if you're on a Berber type carpet, if you own a Berber type carpet. Maybe stay away from the beater bars or raise them up high.
That's right. There's different carpets all over the place now, and it's really difficult for people to know what to get. With Berber rugs, of course, exactly a prime example of what happened there with, if you're on the seam a lot of the time too with the Berber rug, you have to be very careful if you're using a very aggressive rotating brush. And if it's very aggressive, like short bristle style, it can grab in and do exactly what you said and pull all the way through. You can still vacuum Berber rugs, though, with more of a softer bristle. Sometimes an air-driven rotating brush rather than an electrical rotating power brush, or a soft bristle electrical power brush. That way it's not digging into the rug so much, because with Berber, you don't want to dig into Berber.
No.
You want to sweep off the top of Berber, and so you don't damage or fray any of the actual loops built into it. Yeah, when it gets into the plush carpetings, of course, you're going to be looking at more of an aggressive type bristle because you want to get into that carpet, separate the
dirt
fibers.
Settles down.
That's right, and then sweep it out, sort of like combing your hair. It's it makes a big difference for that as well too.
Okay, so what's the big difference between a central vacuum and a portable vacuum? And obviously, there may be strength differences. There may be convenience differences. Some people like hauling the big long cord along, and others don't. You know, the hose, the big hose, and you got to put a sock on it because it scratches your trim and whatever. You know,
that's right.
but then you got the other vacuum where you're carrying a hose ahead and a canister, and you got the power cord to worry about.
It sounds like you do a lot of vacuuming.
I do. I'm the vacuumer in my house. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, good for you. This is
absolutely.
It's 2015. That's the way it is.
So, hey, well, if it's got a motor, I take care of it.
That's it. That's the deal.
I fill the dishwasher too. It's got a motor
in it. Wow.
And a pump.
I don't know. You're stuck with everything then, I think. Sorry.
Yeah, laundry too. Sorry. We said this show sucks.
Yeah, that's right. Wow.
Yeah. Okay, so that's me. So what's if someone is looking at putting in one or the other, they don't have a vacuum right now, what's the pluses and minuses of the two?
Well, one with the central vacuum is a good point you made. When they first came out, there used to be a big issue in the sense for hoses. They used to be really heavy, bulky, and they could rip your baseboards off and went around a corner and mark something. Now the hoses are extremely light, which is nice, about half the weight.
Okay.
They're called crush proof, so you can actually stand on them. They crush down and they'll pop back up.
Okay, so they don't have a big wire coil in them anymore.
Not the big hard wire. No, there's a softer sort of wire that goes all the way through for your electricity and such. So it's much easier to use. It's great for if you have stairs in the house. Because if you have stairs, you don't have to lug up a whole canister or an upright style vacuum cleaner.
Okay.
You can just go zip with the hose all the way up. That's all you're carrying and pulling along the floor, which is great. That'll make your life easier. I do suggest to put a central vacuum in the garage if you can, or vent it outside. That's the best way to have a central. You'll really reap the benefits of that because of the air quality coming back into the home.
Okay.
If it's out in the garage, sure, the noise will be out there, things of that nature too. You could vacuum your car if you wanted to, which will be your another task. But besides that, the air quality, 100% of the dust that you're actually sucking up from the floor is not being recycled within the home. It's being exhausted outside of the home.
Right.
So then that does help a lot of people with allergies, I've noticed, and customers saying, wow, it's so much better now with the allergies. They don't come back in.
Even with the Hepa filters that are on newer vacuums?
Yeah, Hepa filters is a great topic as well, too. Hepa filters...
And I think you have a sample one.
I do have a... Look at this, he's on the ball. Hepa filters
So if you're listening to this on the radio, you can go to our website... or CHRI website, and look at the video part so you can see the examples. Yes,
here we go. Well, we got it in the middle of the camera frame. So Hepa filters range, and that's a type of filtration, basically, is going to happen. So a Hepa filter you can certainly use in the central vacuum, and they do have it. So if you do have it in your basement, your furnace room, that is a great benefit. I also recommend to use disposable bags when you have a central vacuum inside the home, rather than a bagless version. Then you contain the dirt as well, too.
Okay.
With the Hepa filters, they range. Very loosely, though, unfortunately, in the market about what a Hepa filter is.
Yes.
Hepa or Hepa type that you'll hear as well. A true Hepa filter is 99.97% efficient, okay, and is hence 0.3 microns that it can filter out.
Okay.
There's a lot on the market, unfortunately, that are range much lower, and they just say they're Hepa. But they're not necessarily what they call a sealed Hepa either. Sealed Hepa means that your vacuum cleaner is actually designed and sealed so it cannot leak dust throughout the cracks or where the body comes together. And 100% of the air that comes through has to exhaust through the post filter, the final filter, before coming back into the room.
And 0.03 of a micron, is that enough to take out like pollens and allergens?
That's right.
That
all those types of things, dust
from.
mites, things of that nature as well too, which have a lot of problems with allergies. The best you can pretty much get at that point in time. So.
Okay, great. And so let's talk about product for a minute, because obviously there's different values in vacuums, and you heard the old story of people knocking on the door and trying to sell you a nice Kirby or a Filter Queen or Electrolux or one of these super high-end expensive vacuums. But I think that's kind of gone the way. Not too many people are doing that anymore. Most of them come into a nice store like yourself, like you have. And where's your store located, by the way?
It's at 2730 Iris Street, which is just on the corner of Greenbank and Iris, just before the IKEA. So we're in the strip mall right in there.
Oh, okay.
We've been there about 7 years now since we moved from our other location.
All right, perfect. And so they come in there, they're going to be able to see different vacuums, different qualities, different, because people sometimes have a budget, and yet I'm sure they want to get value for what they're spending, right? Because you can go to some of the big box stores and buy a vacuum.
Of course.
So what's the difference?
What's the difference? Well, unfortunately, and I'm sure people are very aware of it these days, that everybody talks about price all the time. Everybody wants the best price. Of course, you want to save money. That's totally understandable. But I feel bad for a lot of the consumers because they're sort of inundated with the price only. And I don't hear a lot of talking about quality, about vacuum cleaners themselves. So that's where you have to adjust yourself and go, okay, I might spend $100 here, $150 here. I might buy it at the box store. Not sure exactly what I'm buying, but it seems good enough for the price.
Seems to suck.
Yeah, that's right. It seems to suck.
Who knows how long it will still do that
Well,
for.
that's the downside. There's been such a change in the industry, a huge change in the industry where, like appliances, where my mother's appliances used to last and still last longer than my fancy new ones, that they have a shorter life expectancy because they want to repeat buy. And I am seeing that in the box stores. And
they're that cheap that you don't repair them either.
Barely. We try to. I mean,
really a $100 vacuum or $150 vacuum.
Usually a filter or a belt, and that's usually the limit when you get to those types of vacuum cleaners. But we certainly do that. We like doing those types of things because we don't want to see these vacuums being thrown in the landfill continuously. And there's a huge swing for that. I've noticed customers coming in and going, you know what? I've done the box store twice now. I've had my vacuums. They worked okay-ish. It's fine. But you know what? I want something to last. I want it to work, and I want it to work well and make my life a little bit easier.
When I moved into my house, they left 2 vacuums behind. Neither one of them worked.
Well, that's why they left them behind.
I'm sure it is. Out to the curb they went, right? So, okay. So, most new home construction now, they're roughing in for central vac anyways.
They are.
So the outlets are there. Basically, the pipe comes terminated usually in the basement. They don't generally
put it out to the garage.
Unless
you pay a little bit more.
Yeah, and sometimes you can still move it there based on if the basement's not finished or whatever. You can get it over to the garage. But.
Yeah, you must be pretty familiar with that when you're doing the homes, and it's something they ask about all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
No, absolutely. The houses are pretty much standard now with all the builders that the house is usually partially roughed in for central vacuum. Hence, they bring all the upper inlets installed on the top floor, main floor, and they bring down a pipe or what they call a drop in your basement ceiling. Then from there, it has to be continued on horizontally, usually out to the garage, which again we recommend, or down into the room, in the basement near the furnace as well too. So it's something to always look for. It adds great value to the home as well too. I'm sure that people ask, does this home have a central vacuum? Yeah,
and we have to be very careful to include all the accessories, because we've had cases where we include the central vac and the person took the power head with them, and then we have to buy a power head.
You hear that story every once in a while. Things start to disappear.
Yeah. So what do we look for if a property does, already have central vacuum? Is there anything we should be looking for in that central vac, or if it's not the greatest canister, because I'm sure there's different qualities of central vac as well. Can you simply go to your store and go, well, this one's not that great, can I get a different canister?
Absolutely. That's the nice thing too about the rough-ins of the central vacuum. They're all universal. So you can intertwine different parts and accessories with a canister and do whichever you please, which is really nice. And certainly anybody can call up at any time to the store. Or they can go to our website at supervacs.ca and they can email us. We always have someone usually intermingling with people, sending emails back and forth, but we're more than happy to talk to people one-on-one. I really enjoy that because then we get into finer details about what kind of vacuum it is, how big the house is, things of that nature, how old the vacuum is. Because that's one of the key things when you're buying a central vacuum, and a lot of people don't know this, and it's a huge mistake when purchasing a central vacuum, is that when you take the square footage of a home, and what's the average home, I would think, now square footage-wise?
Oh, maybe 2,500 square feet or something.
So you take that and you double it. So it's a 5,000 square foot home. And the reason they do this is to compensate for the basement, when you install inlets in the basement, but also compensate for the distance of pipe, because it's not a regular vacuum cleaner. You have runs of pipe up to 60 feet, and you have a 30-foot hose you're dealing with. So you want to maintain that suction at the end of the hose as best you can.
Okay.
So people are buying vacuums, unfortunately, that are too small for their homes. And then the motors tend to pop out very quickly, or they're not getting anywhere the efficiency that they should be getting. So that's really, really important.
Because you're losing with the length of pipe, if the pipe has to come up, if it has to suck uphill.
That's right.
That
yeah,
takes
yeah.
more
not
power.
That's right. And you're not having gravity. Like upstairs, it's great because gravity's pulling down. It's helping along the way. But when you're in the basement, you want really a little extra suction because you're going upwards about 8 to 10 feet. Yeah,
because sometimes I'll find in some vacuums, you'll be picking up the light stuff, but then you get some little granules of gravel that came in on someone's shoes or something, and you can hear it. It's just kind of circulating in the pipe. It's not going anywhere.
It's going ding,
and you turn it off, and then it falls out. You go, okay, well that didn't work.
I have to pick this up. Yeah, that happens a lot as well. Too.
And that would be underpowered or clogged. I guess happens a lot. People have their filters clogged in vacuums.
Yeah, the filters for the central vacuums aren't too bad because they're quite large, the filters. They usually get tube locked. You can shake them off or clean them off depending on the styles you have. Mm-hmm. But certainly there's blocks that happen. And it's usually the children, not to throw them under the bus here, but it's usually the crayons. They find that inlet door.
Yeah.
And then it's magical land all of a sudden where toys can fit down and cars and whatever else you want to. So that can cause a block or a slow block, they call it as well too, which can still be unblocked. There's just a special way of doing it without ripping open the walls in the house, which usually customers are very excited about.
Yeah, happy to hear that, for sure. I usually just reverse it and blow everything out, but then you get dust everywhere.
Well, yeah, a little bit of dust. You have the right idea, though. That's a good idea. It's just basically you want to suck it back out the way it came in instead of maybe blowing it back out. Yeah. Then you can keep that dirt.
Then you need a separate vacuum to do that.
Yeah, shot vac or something to that nature.
I got to tell you, the best one I've ever seen was a little old vacuum, and they had central vac, but I guess the canister had died. And so they had this little vacuum sitting on a little table with a hose taped to the pipe and they had the on-off switch jury-rigged to the electrical switch in the.
Oh boy!
It was quite a cute little vacuum down there. It was hilarious.
Inventive.
Yeah, very, very inventive. So that was great. All right, so. What else you got here? You got some samples of motors, it looks like.
Yeah, this is really important as well, too, for motors. Again, we're talking about quality in the industry, and since we've been in the industry so long, and we're an actual warranty center for every brand that exists.
Really?
Except for maybe one.
Which one?
That would be Shark Europro. And that's more of a Canadian Tire box store kind of thing.
Europro.
Yeah, it's kind of, it's that box store kind of throwaway.
What do you think of Dirt Devil?
Well, Dirt Devil has really changed over the years, and unfortunately, again, a lot of the brand names I grew up with when I was in the store with my dad were Eureka, Hoover, Dirt Devil, things to that nature, and they usually had some still pretty good product that lasted for years. A lot of them, again, have changed. We usually pick and choose models of things that we like for the value they're paying. But the whole lineup, no, I'm sorry, they've dropped drastically.
I just won't buy one because of their name.
Just because
I don't want a devil in my house.
You don't want a devil in the house. You should write him that. I'm not taking your vacuum because it has a devil in it. It makes sense.
Yeah,
makes
I
sense.
just won't buy one. It's funny. It's just one of those things. But anyway.
But we'll get into the motors.
Okay.
This is important. Sure. So there's two types of motors exist in the industry now. And really when it comes down to a central vacuum, if you forget the names and all that kind of fun stuff and the names that you knew growing up, because everything has changed drastically, what happens here is that you want to look at the motor quality, for longevity and the quality overall. So there's two styles. There's one called the flow-through motor. And the flow-through, the way it works is when it sits inside the actual central vacuum, it creates a suction, of course. There's a filter in between here in the motor. And any of the warm air or tiny dust particles you can't see with the naked eye go up and flow directly through your electrical components. Unfortunately, that's the cooling mechanism as well, which isn't necessarily the best because it's warm air. These types of motors tend to turn at a very high RPM. to give you decent suction, which they can do. But they tend to burn out very quickly in comparison to the older style motors. And that's the downside.
Okay, so they have some kind of a fan in there that's creating
They do. This one only has one fan. As you can see the blades inside. I don't know if you can see it on the camera in there, but there is one fan blade on the inside of the actual unit to create your suction. And the faster it goes, the more suction you're going to get. Now, I'm going to show you the previous motor, which is called the bypass motor. And everybody used to carry these motors. The problem is that they last too long.
That's a problem.
That's a big problem for manufacturers, I guess. But there are still some manufacturers I'll get into later that actually still value this type of quality. Here, what happens when the motor is actually sitting inside the unit, you notice a horn built into the actual motor on the side. And this is called bypass, hence any of the warm air, dust particulates that come up through the motor, bypass away from your electrical components. And then on the top, you'll have a cooling fan that cools the electrical components at the same time.
Okay.
Hence, you notice there's many more fan blades in this unit as well, too. It doesn't have to work anywhere as hard to actually create your suction. Hence, longer life expectancy. So this type of motor here has been made longer than I've been on the planet. And I'm not that young anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah, you and I both got some gray hair. Wisdom.
Yeah, wisdom. But for sure, this is a 20, 25-year life expectancy.
Okay.
And in the majority of the central vacuums on the market today, regardless of the name, you're looking at, most of them have flow-through motors, the more shorter life expectancy motors.
Okay.
There's a company called Canna Vac from Owen Sound, Ontario. They're actually built a Canadian product, can you believe it?
I've heard of Canna Vac.
Yeah, they're a phenomenal company, family-run since 1971. They build everything in Canada, and the motors come from the United States. And they're called Lam Amatec motors. Okay, and they still use these high-quality motors, and that's why we carry them in the store.
Okay.
We're not here just to sell anything. We're here to sell actually quality and value. And you can get these products. They'll range anywhere from $5.99 and up, still with that high-quality motor.
Okay, and this is central vac we're talking about.
Yes.
You wouldn't find this in a canister type?
Unfortunately not.
Too heavy?
It's too big.
It's too big?
It's too big, too heavy, because you wouldn't want to lug this around.
Okay.
And that's a big complaint these days. No one wants heavy vacuums to move around anymore. So. So that's going to be key more than anything else. So if you're looking at a central vacuum, even another brand, it doesn't matter. They can always call up the store, and we'll tell them exactly what's in the vacuum itself.
Okay.
So that helps a lot, usually, to make decisions.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, what about beater heads? Different styles, different... we talked briefly about it for the type of floors. You want something that you can adjust either the suction or the height. Because if you're on a bare floor, you want it down.
Yeah,
right?
there's specific tools designed for specific flooring. And you're going to get into, let's say, the hard surfaces like hardwood, which is extremely popular, obviously, a huge selling feature for a lot of the homes we're dealing with now.
Hardwood and laminate is becoming very popular.
The way to go, right? So you'll have a floor brush, and this is the easiest way to do it, and it's usually a horsehair bristle in the actual brush itself. So this is great for the hard surfaces. It's easy to get around furniture underneath things, and away you go. Suction, and you're done. When you get into more of the carpeted areas, you'll get into power brushes. Now, this is a larger power brush from Canna Vac. It's actually brought in from Germany. It's a German product.
Oh, okay.
Mixed in with a Canadian product, which can't really lose there. This unit itself is a more aggressive power brush for that plush carpeting, and if you have wall-to-wall carpeting in the house as well. You'll look for the height adjustment, like you had mentioned before. So the height adjustment can put it really low and aggressive into the rug. So if you have pet hair, you want to be in there a little bit more to pull that out. And then you can lift it away if you want to be a little bit more gentle on the actual rug. Okay. So it's a great feature. Nice swivel neck, things to that nature as well too. And you can see underneath here that the brush itself is actually a little bit shorter and stubbly, but more aggressive. So you can use it on all types of rugs. You can still use it on the Berber, but you want to move away from the Berber, of course. So if you have,
not down tight on it.
That's right. So if you have different carpets in the house, this is a great way to go, especially wall to wall.
And that's motorized.
This is motorized. There's an actual motor in here that rotates the actual brush.
Right. Okay.
Then there's another style of rotating brush you can get, and it's called an air-driven rotating brush. So it's the suction of the actual machine that actually rotates the brush. There's a turbine mechanism inside, which is similar to like a water mill. I always describe it as. So what happens is that the suction makes the turbine turn and makes the rotating brush turn as well too onto your rugs. Now this is not very aggressive, but you still get a rotating action. So it's still great for Berber as well too, because it won't damage it, of course. If you have area rugs in the house and you don't necessarily have
good to pick up that pet.
It is. It's not bad with the turbo brushes for that, but it's usually better with the electrical overall. And I do recommend electrical power brushes, even maybe a smaller one.
Okay. All right, great. And I think, so basically we like central vac because you can get the dust and the noise out into the garage or vented out to the outside. Even if it's in your basement, you could extend the exhaust vent out.
That's right.
Out to the side. So, great that way. If they don't have that or they don't want to spend the money on that, then you've got some portable machines that they can use. Portable are nice. You can take them out to the car as well. Yeah, so I think vacuums have come a long way, especially with the Hepa filters, because a lot of times, especially, you get that puff of dirt or dust out the exhaust, and you go, oh, well, what was the point in vacuuming if I just spread it all? Now I got to go dust the furniture.
Well, back in those days, dust was good for you, right? It made you hardy.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you very much, Tyler, for speaking with us about vacuums.
Thank you.
People can look you up, I'm sure, at Super Vacs.
Yeah, supervacs.ca.
Okay, and so I'd like to just feature a property. This is a lovely property. It's on a few acres just off of the Highway 416 before you get to Kemptville, way before you get to Kemptville. So it's a nice commute into Ottawa. And it's priced at $675,000. It's a beautiful bungalow, got like 5 bedrooms, walkout basement, has a lovely hot tub. Sounding good?
Yeah, sounding good.
And then it's got a huge shop. I think it's 40 by 70 or something like that, out the back, which has, for putting trucks or trailers or heavy equipment in. It's great, and it has electricity out there for that. So radiant floor heat in the floor. It's an amazing little place for $675,000. If that sounds like something for you, give us a call at 613-860-4663. We'd love to talk to you about that property or any other property. If you'd like a second opinion on the value of your property, or you'd like us to come in and help you sell that because your family's expanding or shrinking or whatever the case may be. Sometimes the house we're in is not the house we need to be in for our entire life, and we'd love to help you with that process. So give us a call at 613-860-4663, and hopefully this show has not sucked that much, but it's a great show on vacuums, and vacuums, we want them to suck. So have a great day, and thanks for joining us on the Inside Track on Real Estate with the Dekker Team.